Hey there lovelies, and welcome to the channel. It's Chrissy here today, and it is my turn to show you my very first project with the awesome February kits from Kitaholics. So this kit is absolutely gorgeous, and I know we say that about all the kits, but well, they really are. And even though this kit has a very lovey-dovey Valentine's feel to it, it's really the colors separately can be used for lots of other things. Like, as you can see, this is a picture of my two sisters and myself. Not very Valentine's Day feel about it, but I really wanted to use the pink and the mint together because, well, those colors are gorgeous. And yeah, this is a photo of us on Christmas Day. Actually, it didn't occur to me till after I had already scrapped it that it was actually Christmas Day. But I don't scrap photos of my sisters and I much lately. I've sort of focused on the boys a lot, so I really wanted to scrap this photo when I saw it. And yeah, I had so many layouts going through my head when I saw all the products in this kit, especially the mixed media kit, the stencil and the paint and the cut files. There's so much I wanted to do, I just didn't know where to start. So I started with the stencil. I really wanted to play with the stencil and the paints, and I wanted to do a white space layout. Well, that was originally my plan. And I wanted to have a smaller photo in a cluster down the bottom and then work with a lot of white space. Because if you see my layouts, I do a lot of mixed media, a lot of wet media on the page, and very rarely do I have a lot of white space. Now, considering I started wanting to do a white space layout and ended up painting all over this one, as you can see, I tend to get carried away. But the mixed media kit is just really awesome, and the paint was too good to waste. As you can see, I'm using it in my art journal, so none of it goes to waste. And this color really is a gorgeous color. It's called Candy. So what I did is I used a makeup sponge to apply through the stencil, and then I used the fantastic fan brush that came in the mixed media kit to make some splatters. And you're going to see me do that again with a little of that sea breeze paint as well. So I just added a little bit just so the layout's not all pink, and it's a really beautiful color. I really enjoyed making my own background with the paint and the stencil, and the geometric heart is really a great element on this page, or in the kit even. It's really cool. I'm looking forward to using the cut file that's similar as well. So see, here we go, just using up some of that paint in my art journal because you can't let go to waste. And to make the splatters, all I did was put a tiny amount of paint on my craft sheet, added some water to dilute it a bit and mixed it up until it was a consistency that I liked, and literally used that fan brush to just splatter it on the page. So if you'll notice that I am actually matting this photo on the Project Life cards. Yep, I know, it's not what they're intended for, but I just couldn't bring myself to cut into any of that paper yet. As I get into my kit and I use it a bit more, of course I will. But to mat a little photo, I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I thought, hang on, those Project Life cards are cut from the same paper, so I'll use those to mat my photo. And it worked perfectly. I couldn't decide between the black, the white, or the pink because I wasn't 100% sure what would work better. And in the end, I decided to do a very thin pink matte and then mat it on the black as well. It's also around about here that I notice I have gotten a lovely sea breeze paint splatter on my photo, right on my sister's teeth. I do continue the layout with it there. It does clearly bug me and it wouldn't come off. So what I do is I just replace the photo at the end of the layout. So the photo of my layout that you will see at the end of this video is with the reprinted photo. It was easy enough to reprint and cut down to size, but I didn't really feel like stopping in the middle of my layout to go reprint a photo, so I wait till the end and then replace it. So I'm just using my craft file to file down the edges of that paper. I think my craft blade, the blade on my trimmer, was a bit dull and it just doesn't give it a clean line, so all I do is I just use my file just to file those edges a bit. And now I'm deciding to layer a doily behind as well, but I couldn't see it enough. I didn't like it. So what I do sometimes, if the doily's not quite big enough, I cut it in half and then layer it a bit with a gap in between so it looks bigger, if that makes sense. And then when I did it, it just looked weird. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. Then I worked out I'd made it too big, so I just move it in a little bit more and it gives it the layer that I'm looking for. I'm quite happy with the result. So after I finish fiddling with my doily and I'm happy with the way it is, I'm going to stick this down, and then I'm going to work on my cluster of ephemera and embellishments down next to my photo. So like I was saying, I had a plan for a small photo with layers, which I totally forgot about, and a cluster here and there, and then a lot of white space, and then maybe a title and a cluster up the top. I ended up diverting from that. I decided not to put a big title on it, as you'll see in the end. I put some word stickers on my cluster, and that pretty much becomes my title. So it's very minimalistic, especially for me. I don't even put a cluster up the top, as you'll see later in the video. Pretty much my embellishing is going to be this small cluster down the bottom. So it's a very simple, very quick layout. It took me 23 minutes, I think this video was. 23 minutes from beginning to end. And yeah, that's very unusual for me. But I do like the way it turned out, so I decided not to add anything else to it. I decided to leave it as it was. And yeah, I decided not to go with a title, which, you know, is very unlike me as well. But I really liked how this layout was, with the focus being on the photo and, you know, the hearts on the white background, that I didn't want to do anything else to it. I just wanted to leave it the way it was. So I did. So what I'm doing is I'm going through the Simple Stories ephemera and the die cut pieces, and that's what I'm using for my cluster. I decided to use these flowers. I'm focusing on the pink and the mint, and I also get a mint heart and put it there as well to bring more of that mint into it without having too much, because, you know, there was only a faint splattering of it on the layout. And I'm using some foam pop dots to give a bit of dimension to my flowers. Some are flat, stuck flat to the page, and some are popped up with some of that foam. So I fiddle with this cluster for a bit, but only because there's so much ephemera in this kit that there was just a lot to choose from. This packet alone had so much in it that was absolutely gorgeous. But then if you get all of the kits like me, you'll also notice that there is another packet of ephemera in my little tray of awesomeness as well, from a different collection, which is really cool. If you haven't heard before in my past videos, I get all 4 kits: the mixed media, the embellishment, the main, and the Project Life kit. And then when I do my layouts, I put them all together in a tub, and that's what I work from. So I couldn't actually tell you from memory, without going back through my stash, what comes with what kit, which is a shame, but sorry. But yeah, I do mix it all up in my container, and then I have what I call my little plate of awesomeness, which is this container up here. It's just a plate with 4 sections, and I put my embellishments in it. As you can see, I've got one with all that confetti, one with the bits and pieces, one with my doilies, and then one with a whole bunch of ephemera. And that's not even all of it. I couldn't fit it all in. The ephemera from the Simple Stories just had to stay in the packet for a little while. And this is another one of my favorite additions to the kit. This is the Simple Stories sticker sheet set, and there's 8 sticker sheets on this, all different icons and things. And one of my favorites is tiny word stickers. As you can see, I have an entire collection of them, so I was very happy to get some of these in the kit. And yes, they are very Valentine, very lovey-dovey based, but I went through and I found some that work for this photo. I think it was Together and something else. Oh, from my top of my head, I cannot remember, but yeah, it did work for this photo. And this is actually what I end up using for my title. This is what I'll call the layout. As you can see, it's very small, and yeah, I don't really add a title. I just add a bit of ephemera, a bit of bling. These Corbett Creations chevrons are my absolute favorite. I love these things. I use them when we got a packet last time in one of the kits last year. I use it very quickly. I use it on everything until I'd run out. They're my absolute favorite. And yeah, they're a good little addition of another element. So instead of more pink or sea breeze, I go with a bit of wood. I do also have some of the hearts and stars left from last month's kit, so I left them in my container, and I'm going to use them this month as well. So like I was saying, I'm going to go and add some of those enamel shapes and then some bling from my stash, and that's pretty much going to be it. I was looking at the layout wondering, thinking it just didn't look quite finished, and I was thinking of maybe inking, for lack of a better word, the edges with some more of the paint and my makeup sponge. But then I decided against it, and instead I decided to grab my Sharpie pen and just do a doodly border around the edges. And I felt that helped ground it and seal it off, sort of like almost like matting it would have done. Sometimes I feel it looks not quite finished without an edge or a border or something like that. So that's what I decided to do. I just do a thin line border with some fake scribbly stitching lines, and then that's it for the layout. So I really do like how these turned out. It's very, very small, very simple, very minimalistic, which is not like me at all, which is probably why I like it a lot. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will be back later in the month with more videos, so stay tuned, and we can't wait to see what you do with your kits. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.